Welcome back, barbecue fans. Another week of Wise Guys BBQ. I'm Vin Picaro. Charlie Baldwin in the house, as always. Won't do a show without him.
Even if I'm late.
Even if you're late. And we're blessed this week. We got Duce Raymond from Sweet Baby Ray's in the house with us. So we're not going to sit here long and keep you waiting. We're going to jump into that right now.
Let's go.
All right, here he is, folks. Duce Raymond from Sweet Baby Ray's Restaurants is with us tonight. Can you believe it, Charlie? Huh? This is.
I mean, the hits just keep on coming. It's a pleasure having you, brother. And
hey,
you know,
the pleasure's all mine.
The reputation you have in the barbecue community is unparalleled, and we so happy to get to talk to you, man.
I'm glad you guys. Yeah, no, I'm glad you guys reached out, and anything I could do to give back to a little bit to the barbecue community, especially the backyard side of things. You know, that's a big reason why we do what we do online, is try to educate and inspire and bring a little bit of the, you know, peel back the curtain a little bit to, you know, give some people some inspiration to be able to do some of this stuff in the backyard. So
God bless.
I appreciate the time on air, and happy to answer any and all questions.
All right, let's get started with this. Let's start with the name, Duce. What is that? Your name? Is that really your name, or is that a nickname?
So technically, I'm Lawrence Paul Raymond II. So named after my father. But I shit you not, like before they left the hospital, one of their best friends, they said, "Oh, what'd you name him?" Larry, and he said, "Oh, you got a Duce."
Yeah,
and so. Duce, way cooler than Little Larry.
Yeah,
or Larry
exactly.
Jr.
Exactly. I got a junior
much
too.
Cooler.
Yeah, I got a
much
junior
cooler.
too, and I didn't want a little Vinny, so we nicknamed him Sonny. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And you know, it brings me back to the nicknames Sweet Baby Ray's. I mean, that was Dave's basketball name, wasn't it? Your Uncle Dave?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the amazing stories in barbecue, I think. And it's a true story. But basically how it goes is my dad and my uncle grew up in pretty rough neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. And they always called my dad Ray for our last name. Okay. So then his little brother was Baby Ray. And when Uncle Dave hit that baseline jumper, he'd be like, "That's Sweet Baby Ray."
Gotcha.
So
that's perfect.
They named the sauce after the nickname. And, that's just amazing. It gives me goosebumps every time I get to tell that story.
So
awesome.
When did Dave and Larry create the sauce? What year was that about?
So right in the early 80s, and they started messing around with it. And what happened was my uncle was talking to some guys, and they wanted to enter into the Mike Rico Rib Fest. And my dad was a chef by training. So Dave asked my dad, Larry, you know, can you come up with a barbecue sauce for us to enter into this rib comp? And my dad, being a chef, he talked to some of his chef friends. What would constitute a great barbecue sauce. So they put some things together and came up with the recipe for Sweet Baby Ray's. They entered it into the Mike Rico Rib Fest, ended up winning second place out of 700 contestants. At the time, it was the country's largest rib fest. And I don't even know if there's a rib fest that big anymore. I mean, if you go back on YouTube and look at the old footage, it's just wild. They took over Grant Park, and there was old smokers and everything. It's hilarious. It's classic 80s. Like it'll make you smile just looking at some of that stuff. But yeah, they entered it. And my dad, you know, a side story to that was, you know, when they were down there cooking those ribs, you know, my dad was a chef. So he was all about, it's all about the quality meat. It's all about the quality meat. We use the best ribs. And then there was a guy like next to him, and they were kind of jazzing each other through the whole thing, which is one of the reasons I like competition. There's that camaraderie and, you know, jabbing each other and things like that. So he's like, "No, man, the sauce is the boss. The sauce is the boss. No, man, it's the sauce." And so my dad's like, "No, it's the meat. It's the ribs. You know, it's got to be the best meat." And so when they won second place, and they were up on stage, my dad yells out, "The sauce is the boss." so that nickname or that subtitle for Sweet Baby Ray's stuck ever since day one.
Right. That's awesome.
Now, Dude, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go.
No, Duce, when you said they grew up in a rough neighborhood in Chicago on the west side, how's barbecue get into their blood in that environment? Like you know, we've all heard about the Chicago beef sandwiches and all that stuff. Like good soup. But how did the barbecue come around?
The honest truth is it really wasn't, I mean, my dad was a chef, so he had some background knowledge about sauces and, general cooking and what tasted good and everything like that. But I mean, barbecue was not a big deal for them growing up. They remember gaucho beef, which was like beef in a tub with a thin kind of open pitty barbecue sauce. I've never had it, but I've just go by their old stories. And so, I mean, they made it a thing. It's in my blood because they started in Sweet Baby Ray's, and I've been around it my whole life. I was born in 1981. So by the time I kind of knew what was going on, we were sticking labels on little sauce samples and, hauling sauce from Chicago up to Wisconsin where we lived. And, I've been around the industry the whole time. And it's just been a major part of my life ever since I was a little kid.
Now, between Dave and Larry, did they complement each other? Like, did they both cook and they both market, or was it like left foot, right foot kind of a partnership?
So the honest truth is my dad created the sauce, and then Dave and his business partner, Mike O'Brien, really ran the business. My dad and Dave would have clashed too much because big brother, little brother, that whole thing would have never worked out.
Sure.
And my dad was following his career path, and he was a chef of Century World, which is a big club in Stevens Point that's still there. It's a PGA club. And then he moved on to Wausau, Wisconsin for the Wausau Club, and then he started his own thing. So he was kind of on his own career path, raising his family and doing his own thing. And then Dave was really running the business. Mm-hmm. So a little further into that story is, my dad was 50% owner from the start, and then Dave and Mike were the other 50%. But then my dad ended up selling some of his percentage back to them to kind of make things flow. Like they were putting in all the work, and my dad was still holding. So they kind of made that right and everything in the end. But, if my dad and Dave had to do it together, it would never worked out. And Mike O'Brien was the real kind of financial brain to it. But Dave, for sure, genius marketer behind Sweet Baby Ray's. I mean, he's the one that really, really kind of put it on the map. And to this day, Sweet Baby Ray's corporate still uses some of the marketing tactics that Uncle Dave put together 40 years ago. Yeah. And that's super impressive today. You guys would absolutely love talking to Uncle Dave. He'll never stop talking though. Yeah.
He's still your partner, right? You guys are still doing the restaurant together?
Yeah.
That's great.
I tell people he's like 90% retired. I mean, we still talk all the time on the phone and have a great relationship. He's more than a partner. He's more than an uncle. He's more than a friend. I mean, he's just, we're like this, me and Uncle Dave. And, so I talk to him all the time.
Before your father's passing, did you get a chance to get in the kitchen with him and cook and stuff? Probably in your early 20s, right?
For sure. So I worked for my dad when I started 14 years old in the kitchen. He had his own restaurant called Larry Raymond's at Greenwood Hills. It was at a country club. And my dad was a tough cookie, man. Yeah. He was one of those owner, chefs, general managers that made the front of the house managers cry. And, sometimes I learned a lot from my dad. But sometimes I learned what not to do as well. And, I'm probably a little too soft with my staff because of, I saw how hard my dad was, but 100% is something that I'll always remember is the work ethic that my dad instilled in me. And and that's something that will stick with me the rest of my life and something I hope I can pass on to my kids. So,
awesome. Duce, when did you guys realize that this thing was going to blow up? Because I can remember, we talk about this all the time. You used to have like a couple of choices of barbecue, craft, and then you started seeing Sweet Baby Ray's with just the original thing. And now, I mean, you guys have flavors out the yin yang.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a yellow one that my kids can't stop putting on their chicken. I can't remember what. Is it the garlic parm or something? They got
a bunch of them now. I mean, it's crazy how many sauces they have. But I mean, I would say they never really saw it coming that much. They knew they had something. I would say probably by like 92, 93, it started to pick up and they really saw progress. And they put a lot of work into it. And my mind is blown. I was still real young then, so I wasn't really involved in the business at that point. I was just a kid, you know.
Right.
But what boggles my mind is how they were able to grow that business with not having any retail experience in the past, and they really just had to plug and chug, and persistence is the only word that comes to mind is how they were able to succeed. And then, they hooked up with Ken's, the company that ultimately ended up buying them.
Is Ken's like Ken's Steakhouse Dressings? And is that the company you're talking? Okay.
Absolutely. And you would never know, but it's a massive company. It's truly massive. And in part to Sweet Baby Ray's as well. But so they partnered with them and used them as a co-packer for a number of years before they agreed on this 5-year deal. So back in like 95, 96, they agreed on a buyout in 5 years. So Dave and Mike's sole purpose from 95 to 2000 was to grow the top line sales as much as possible because they were going to get paid out on top line.
Yep.
And that's the agreement that they came out on. So they went crazy offering the best deals, getting in front of as many buyers as possible. And, they caught lightning in a bottle with a couple things.
Sure.
One, like you said, there was only a couple things on the shelf. The name Sweet Baby Ray's is amazing. Yep. The logo looks amazing. Like they nailed a few things and they just got lucky in a way with a lot of other things. But they worked their ass off to build that brand and not necessarily being the most experienced in the retail space too. So huge kudos to Uncle Dave.
Did you guys start like very local?
They started. Uncle Dave will tell you he started like a mushroom or onion from the inside out. So they started just super local, and then they just started expanding, and little by little started going further and further away. So the big thing that helped them was the broker network, and I'm kind of speaking out of my expertise here, but they working with brokers who got in front of the retail stores to help sell the product.
Understood.
So then. When they got to that top line number and they sold out, I think it was 30 million where they ended up selling it for. So that was the brass ring. They were all happy with that. Like the atmosphere in the family was excitement, right? You guys did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You nailed it. Yeah.
They did it. I mean, and 30 million 30 years ago.
Exactly.
It is
150 million now. Yeah.
Well, right now it's a $1.2 billion brand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sweet Baby Ray's. That's crazy. I was looking at some numbers, and they're like 53% of the entire market of barbecue sauce.
Well,
so they're outselling.
They sell more than all the other sauces combined.
Put together. Yeah, that's crazy.
That is insane. I remember like when I first started seeing Sweet Baby Ray's around here in New England, it kind of had that attraction of like a craft like barbecue sauce, you know what I'm saying? Like something you didn't see everywhere. And like when you saw Sweet Baby, you're like, wow, I need to get my hands on that.
Did you also feel like it was very local? Like you didn't feel like you were eating a Ken's or a Newman's.
Exactly.
You were eating somebody who put it together in their basement yesterday.
Exactly. The marketing, I mean, you guys obviously, you killed it. But just a great presentation. And then it just blew up. So
Duce, post the sauce deal, you and Uncle Dave got an opportunity to extend on the brand name in restaurants, right? And that's what you guys did?
Yeah. So basically what happened was in 2000, 2001, when everything was kind of said and done, part of the contract said that the Raymond family could use the name Sweet Baby Ray's restaurants in Illinois and Wisconsin, up to 4 units. I mean, it was very specific what it was.
Okay.
But, and Mike O'Brien was involved with Dave's business partner with that as well. So that was kind of in my background. As I was finishing up high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was a worker. I like to work. I like to, school was never, I did okay in school, but not necessarily because I was the smartest kid. I just knew how to figure it out. I knew how to cheat off who or get the answers from wherever,
Nothing's changed. My kid's in college now. Nothing's changed.
But so I always did good in school, but it wasn't like really my thing.
It wasn't your driving factor. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I was like looking to see what I was going to do. Working for my dad, also hard. Restaurant industry, working nights, holidays, weekends,
brutal.
not necessarily. So I went to
for your dad.
Yeah, for my dad, who's
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do until I moved away to Utah and worked for a chef out there and did California cuisine, everything fresh. It was really exciting to me because it was like you went to the farmer's market, the fish was flown in from Hawaii, like we were cooking, it was an open line so the people would sit right there and I'd be cooking right in front of them, and kind of got out of my comfort zone a little bit and learned from another chef. And it was a really kind of transformative experience for me. And then I decided, okay, I don't want to live out in Utah. I want to be closer to my family. That was right around when 9/11 happened. And it was, everything was kind of scary. So then after things settled down from 9/11, I went back home and really decided that's when I was going to go to culinary school. And when I signed up for culinary school, it was at Kendall College in Chicago. I ended up living with Uncle Dave, and that's really when we started developing the idea for the first Sweet Baby Ray's restaurant.
Yep. So when you went out to Utah, how'd you, like you said, you hadn't been to culinary school yet. How'd you get that gig?
Well, I mean, I've been working in restaurants since I was 14, and I was about, 18 or 19 right then. Mm-hmm. And that's all I knew. I mean, I was good with my hands. I knew how to cook. I trained under my dad, and he made sure that I knew what the hell I was doing. So, I walked in and, they had me, it depends on what kind of position you're applying for in a kitchen, but a lot of times they'll have you like cook something for them. So we did that and they were impressed. And that chef there, I'll never forget, Roseanne Ruiz. And what I'll tell people is she was more like my dad than my mom, if you know what I mean. But she was awesome because she was kind of hard like my dad, and she had high standards, and she really instilled that in me. And it was something that really kind of kept me going. And part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today is having all these different experiences. I got core training from my dad. I got training from her as a super young chef. And then in culinary school, learning from all those other chefs, you take a little bit from everybody. And that kind of what develops my cooking style today. And, there's a lot more to the business of what I do today than just cooking. Yeah. But the food part is what I love most. It's like when you make something for somebody and it puts a smile on their face, that's what gives me fulfillment, and that's what kind of keeps me going.
Yeah, that's one of my questions for you in a minute. But before I get there, I got to ask this first. So it's day one. You open the restaurant. How you doing? Are you shitting a brick? Are you confident as all heck, saying, "I got this. Uncle Dave's here. We got it all right"? How was that?
It was crazy. Even with the experience that I had, the first big argument that Dave and I had was before the restaurant opened. I was in culinary school. I was living at his house. We were out in the backyard drinking beer, and I'm expecting that I'm going to be the head chef, the person in charge in the kitchen. Right. And he's like, "No, we're going to hire executive chef. You're not ready for that yet." And I thought he was shit. Like, he probably was, but I thought he didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, of course I'm ready. I'm in culinary school. I know what I'm doing. Right, 21 years old.
Yeah. Give me the world. Give me the world. Yeah.
And God damn, that's one thing he was right about, because I definitely was not ready. And we did hire a chef, but even with that, my point is, even with that and hiring some other people that had experience, it was still a struggle. And we struggled for years. Because we put so much emphasis on having the name Sweet Baby Ray's that we just thought the business was going to explode.
Right.
And it did okay, but not enough to cover up all our mistakes. You know what I mean? So we struggled for a long time before we treated it like an actual business. And, we didn't, we lost money for a number of years until we started, really cramping down on things and getting things right. So it doesn't matter how powerful your brand name is. You still have to run the business like a business.
Got to back it up. How many restaurants do you have? Do you have just the one, or is there a couple?
So just right now there's one. At one point there was 3.
Okay.
We had the original restaurant in Wooddale. We had a restaurant in Elk Grove, which is close to Wooddale, a couple suburbs away. And then we had one in Wrigleyville.
Okay.
The Elk Grove one closed because of COVID, and then the Wrigleyville one closed because bad partnership, and that's a very niche market. You have to know exactly what you're doing down there. You'll see that's like Restaurant Road down there on what street is that? Addison, or one of the main streets down there. There you'll see the restaurants turn over crazy because it's like, but the ones that stay because they have that market figured out. But it was bad partnership and just not understanding that market fully, because it so fluctuates between when the Cubs are there and when they're not there.
I was just going to say, it must, in season.
Sure.
And we get the same thing. We talked to some barbecue place up in Boston. Yeah, when the Sox are home, it's just balls out, making money hand over fist. But then, in the winter, maybe not so much.
Right.
So, anywho, let's. We're talking about your restaurant. So we come to your restaurant. What are we looking at? What are we looking at when we walk in the door?
So it's cool right now. The existing restaurant is a small restaurant. Almost looks like a house from the outside. And you walk in, and right away you'll see wood. It's wood floor, wood booths. The menu boards are all in wood, and then you'll see all the trophies. And the really unique part about it is there's pictures of Dave and my dad, and kind of like tells a story of them growing up and like the kind of progression of Sweet Baby Ray's throughout. You'll see all the old bottles from the very first Grolsch beer bottle, what they use Sweet Baby Ray's in, all the way down to like the newest version of Duce's Wild. And it's kind of tells the story. And then the food is, traditional barbecue, man. It's ribs, smoked chicken, smoked sausage, rib tips is huge in Chicago. Brisket, pulled pork, and then all our homemade sides. We take a lot of pride in our sides, which I think a lot of barbecue people do.
Yeah.
We put a lot of effort into those as well.
Yeah. I was looking at your menu and
so
very exciting.
Duce's Wild, right? That's the future for you. You have sauces and rubs, is it, with that now? Or
so right now, so the Duce's Wild name came from our competitions. We started doing competitions in 2010, and we used Duce's Wild as a name for that, and we had a team. It was a ton of fun. I love doing the barbecue competitions, man, because it was when you're young and you're staying up late, drinking beer, talking to your buddies, and doing what you love to do and cooking barbecue all night long. I mean, it just, for me, I'm competitive by nature. I played sports growing up as a kid and everything. So you add all this stuff that you love, plus a competition on top of it. It was perfect fit for me. So, I mean, it got to the point where it just got to be too much with managing the business. And then we started having kids right around that time, and it just got to be too much. And it was too stressful trying to manage a house, home with my family, the business, and trying to do competitions too. It got to be too much.
So I think you already answered it, but my question was going to be competitions, promoting, right? All this stuff we're doing right now, developing sauces and rubs, being a chef. What do you like the most? What's your number one? What would you do every day if you could throw everything else out?
Oh, that's tough to say. What would I do? I mean, one thing I like to say is I really like the catering business because it's not always the same thing, but that doesn't really answer your question. What else would I do? I mean, my job is never the same because we have the restaurant I'm helping manage, the catering business, the sauces, rubs. I do a lot with the social media and the marketing and stuff like that. So I'll keep it just the way it is.
Yeah.
I like all the chaos and not knowing exactly what's going on.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a jack of all trades. So you don't get bored doing the same thing over. You always got something new, some new problem to solve. Or talk about your catering. You say it's a different thing just based on what people want for their event and that type of deal.
We're a little unique in the way where we offer a lot because we actually have two brands. So we have the Sweet Baby Ray's catering brand, and then we also have True Cuisine. A lot of people don't realize that we do over 50% of our business is weddings. So and that's a lot on the True Cuisine side, but some people have barbecue weddings too. So we offer everything. We, all your traditional wedding, little past hors d'oeuvres, salad, steak, shrimp, chicken, all those different entrees that you normally see at a wedding. Plus we have a lot of international flavor profiles because, we're in Chicago. We get a lot of those high-end brides that want all sorts of different stuff. So we offer everything. And then we have the Sweet Baby Ray side that is everything that you would expect it is. So we do, sit down weddings for 200 people, and then we turn around and do a barbecue for 1,500 people and kind of everything in between. We do 20-person drop-off corporate parties and backyard parties. And, so we do all sorts of stuff. And we have 6 box trucks and delivery vans and hot shop vehicles that hold the food hot. And, and an entire team. And that's what a lot of people don't, I don't do everything. I have a director of sales. I have an executive chef. I have a general manager. Yeah. We have a director of HR and accounting. So we have a complete team here that really is supporting and running the day-to-day operations with the catering business. Yep. And, I work hand in hand with them all and all the time, but it's really a team effort. There's no question about that. I
know Vin and I love these type of questions for you guys. What's the strangest or most unique thing that somebody's asked you to do for catering? Anything crazy out there that they wanted you to pull off? Where you're like, hey, okay, this is gonna take some effort, that type of thing.
Yeah. The one thing I hate when people ask me is to make my grandma's this or my grandma's that, because no matter what I do, it's never going to be as good as grandma.
That's right.
I don't like that. I mean, I could try our best and we'll do it. Even if I follow your recipe to the T, it's just not going to be the same as your grandma cooking it in a 100-year-old pot that she's been doing the same way every time, But man, so there's one event I'll tell you about. It was called the Chase Corporate Challenge, and it was run by Chase Bank. And it was a lot of the big companies down in the city. They get their employees together and they run a 5K. So then all those companies have hospitality tents. When they get done running, then they go back to the tent. Well, we started small. We had a couple tents, and then the biggest year we got up to was running 56 tents at one time.
Smokes.
Over 5,000 people. We had 3 refrigerator trucks. What? We had 200 employees. We had gators. We had managers, over 225 employees with headsets on. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable logistic craziness. And there's these pieces of equipment called caves in catering that are just like a 6-foot metal box that you can use sternos to hold the food hot on. I remember walking by and one of our caves is just completely on fire, just like completely on fire. So we had to put it out. And so there's all sorts of crazy stories like that. Catering is one of those things where you're the away team every time is how
flying by the seat of your pants, right?
Yep. Just trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
You better be a problem solver.
We've come a long way, but problem solver, big time.
Yep. So what's the future for your restaurant business? What are you doing with Sweet Baby Ray's in the future?
So that's really exciting to me. So basically what we're doing is we're continuing to grow the catering business, both True Cuisine and Sweet Baby Ray's, and that's not going away. What the big change coming up is we are developing the first ever Duce's Wild concept. And the way that I'm thinking about this is it's not a one-off. It's not a mom and pop place. We're developing a concept that can be expanded. So I'm looking at things like how Chick-fil-A is doing things, how Starbucks is doing things, how Cane's is doing things. Okay. So we're working with some of the top designers here in Chicago, top restaurant, kitchen design team, plus all the aesthetic side. There's a company called Aria Group that works for Topgolf and Shake Shack and big brands like that.
Yep.
So they're helping us design it, but the concept, it's going to be barbecue with a drive-through, and it's going to have a modern kind of look to it. But what I'm really excited about, and I'm probably more excited about this than our customers will be, but it's what is really exciting to me is when you walk in, you're going to get the whole, all those stories that I was talking about, Sweet Baby Ray's. You're going to see that story and that timeline. And Duce's Wild would never be here without Sweet Baby Ray's. And we're really going to honor the history of my dad and my uncle and what they did to grow that brand. And you're going to see, the timeline and the big collage of all these images and kind of the evolution of Sweet Baby Ray's and how it's grown. And then, the next generation and the evolution into Duce's Wild. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's something that, gets me emotional just thinking about it. We're going through the whole process with the city of Wooddale right now where we're at. So
where are you in the process? Are you halfway? Like when do you see one of those restaurants opening up?
So if everything goes right, we're going to start construction at the end of July. So we're far down the process. We have all the plans, all the materials, all the heavy lifting as far as the planning is done. Like, we have a construction, I don't even know the whole blueprint package. Sure. If I picked it up, it's about like this thick and this big, and so we're all ready to go. We just have to get the final sign off by the city. And so that latest is like end of first quarter 2027. The first one will be open. And like I said, the real reason we're trying to design this is to make multiple. So, it doesn't make sense to do any one-off restaurant. In my opinion, it's just too much work and too much planning just to do one.
Sure.
So I'm really, really blessed that Uncle Dave is supporting me. And I have a business partner is actually my brother-in-law, Brian. He's, very business savvy, super successful, and has some financial backing that's, can't do anything without
without money, right? Money.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So that's been extremely helpful, and I'm just super excited to see it all come. We've been working so hard on trying to put together the vision of what it's going to be, and I mean, the food is definitely a huge component of it, and really, what's cool, I think that, I'm taking kind of a book. You remember when like Crumble Cookie was really popping and they would have like all their weekly specials. So they really were smart about, showing you that image and that slow-mo video of what that cookie looked like and everything. So one thing we have been, since we've been doing videos for the last 4 years, and I have all these unique items that we've been doing. So we'll be able to, have specials, but then be able to promote it properly with the videos, with the images, with the storytelling inside the restaurant and on social media, so people get a chance to try some of the unique items too. So we'll have all the traditional, pulled pork, ribs, chicken, and brisket, but then we'll run specials on, it could be a togarashi tri-tip, or we could have a brisket French dip with caramelized onions, or, a smoked brisket encheladas.
That's genius. That's very smart. Good job.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
So, you already answered part of the question.
What's that?
I was going to, so this is not going to be a destination barbecue place. This is going to be, you're looking to spread out all over the place with this concept. Are you talking about like franchising this thing?
Well, the franchise word has come up, but I mean, we're not gonna. We'll cross that bridge as we get to it. We're gonna do. Let's get the first one open, then after 2, 3, 4, 5, then I mean, because obviously I'm connected in the barbecue and the hospitality space. I've talked to other people, and there's some opinions like if you want to look at selling it, and getting out, then you're better off holding on and not franchising. But if you want to, like, if you're going to hold on to this forever, then that franchising concept might be good.
Understood.
So, and I don't even know, but I mean, the reason we're doing this is because I want to build something that continues to tell the Sweet Baby Ray story. I want to build something for my kids and Brian's family as well, to have to, if they want to work in it, or if they want to pass it down to their kids or whatever, it's something. And I'm so far down the rabbit hole in it too. I'm not going to do anything else now. So
well, you're a young dude. You're in your 40s, right?
Yeah, I'm 44. So
you're a young dude. You got a long way to go, man. Keep it up. Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because it's been something that's been perking up on some of our other shows, and you mentioned the tri-tip, so it brought it to the front of my brain. Barbecue world, smokers, competitions. What do you think about this live fire, this open fire craze that's going on right now? Do you see it as something that's going to evolve in barbecue? It seems like, in our neck of the woods anyways, it seems like some of the actual barbecue folks are a little bit threatened by it. They don't want to give up what they know the best, I guess. What do you think about it?
Here's my 2 cents is that it's new and it's exciting and it definitely gets your attention. Uncle Dave was super excited about it the first time he went to he saw the live fire that was going on in Memphis in May.
Okay.
And I'm buddies with Al Fragoni, and I don't know if you guys know who he is.
He was on the show a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was introduced to him a couple years ago through Royal Oak Charcoal, and so I've been following along. The challenge here is that competition barbecue, like the KCBS stuff, is so cookie cutter, and it's everyone trying to hit the exact same flavor profile and the exact same presentation, and it's not as exciting. Live fire is very exciting, but also all those apparatuses that those guys have and those big cooking equipment and everything is very expensive, and it's very hard to move. So I really think it's a niche thing, because to get all those, to make it impressive, you need all those dudes there with all their different cookers and all those things. That's very expensive to accomplish. Yes. So I don't know really the future of how that, how that scales. I don't know how that scales.
Whether it's got staying power.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
That's a great question. How does it scale?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like, I find it exciting, and it does, for me, it does the number one thing you want in any competition event. It brings the public around it, right? People want to see it. They're like, this is so cool. You're cooking alligator. Wow, right? They love that stuff. But then you talk to some of the barbecue competition guys, and they're like, it's just grilling. All you're doing is grilling.
Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, well, you're just grilling, but it's like, I think live fire is just grilling like barbecue people are putting a pot roast in the oven. It's not, right? There's so much to it. But it is something that's kind of turning heads up here in New England for sure.
It definitely is. And I mean, I think that they're, bigger brands like Weber's taking note. They're putting some products together. And I think it's going to be a big deal for a while. I just don't know how I don't know how it really comes to fruition at a scale, but those events that they're having, like Al and those guys are putting together down in Texas, I mean, they're amazing. I got to get there next year. I don't know. They've invited me the last 2 years, and I haven't been able to make it. But
meetup.
The live fire meetup down in Texas that Al and the guys have put together.
Yeah, I think the next one's in October. I think. Is that the one you're talking about, or are you talking about in 27?
I'm talking about in. No, is it in October or November?
October. It's in October. It's like the week before Halloween.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. It looks cool. It I don't know. It doesn't. It looks normal too, right? It's just like I watched the video from last year. Some of the competitors had some videos up. It's just a bunch of tents and a bunch of guys cooking, on some really cool apparatuses, and it looks fun. I mean, what Memphis in May was great, and the competition side, now that they're a sanctioned group, seems to be a little daunting. I mean, they serve 4 different courses in their presentation. Yeah. They're not just doing 4 meats, they're doing 4 different courses. So it seems like a lot of work. I don't know.
As a chef, that's what I would excel at. Something like that is using my knowledge and my experience and stuff like that to be able to cook on that grill and be able to come up with 4 courses. Like, that's something that I would excel at. I tell anybody, like, if I go to a barbecue competition today, the people that win the most in competitions is because they do it week after week after week. Yep. These top guys, they're there all the time, and that's why they win consistently.
They have a process and they stick to it and they win. Yep. Agreed.
I can compete on a weekly basis with any one of them. And I did it back when I was doing competitions, because I didn't do 30 a year like the top guys. I would only do, 10. I think the most we did is 12 one year, but I would consistently compete in that realm. It's because of my experience as a chef, and I still, I did my homework and I tried hard. I tried really hard because I wanted to win.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way about that live fire, is like that's right up my alley, because I think I could excel at it. I could do good at it right out of the gate because of my experience and been doing that type of cooking for my entire career. Plus I had that competition and that culinary school background actually helps out a lot of that, because a lot in that culinary school, they have, because, traditional culinary competition is a big deal too.
Right.
So we did a lot of that in culinary school.
Yeah. Do you teach any classes currently? Are you doing anything?
So we haven't done it in the last couple years, but it's something once the new restaurant opens, we're going to start incorporating more of that to get some more buzz and excitement and fill that space more. The reason I don't is it's really hard to sell those tickets, even with the online presence we have and stuff like that, because you have to charge at least like $150.
Sure.
And I'm not saying you're not going to get that value for it, but it's still, you're laying out $150 a head, and not everybody wants to do that, so you have, I think that there's a niche for it. But to make it worth our while, because it's expensive when you're putting out, I don't do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
That's partially my problem is like, if you're going to come to one of my events, you're going to get the whole nine. You're going to feel taken care of. You're going to feel that you got more than you paid for.
Yeah.
And that's how I roll. So it's hard for me to do it because my expectation is so high that it's going to have to be at least $150 a head.
Sure. No, and that sounds reasonable. That's what I hear other people grabbing. Yeah. I just bring it up because I watch your social media stuff and I learn a lot because the way you present your cook, it's so founded in what you're trying to do that I actually learned something. So I feel like I'm getting that from social media. If I was sitting in one of your classes, I learn a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
It's something I do enjoy doing for sure.
That's great.
I think what would be amazing if people could go check out our website, duceswildbbq.com. And if they need sauces or rubs, go check it out. And it would mean a lot to me if a couple orders came through and they said, "Oh, we heard them on the Wise Guys." That would be amazing.
Oh, that's great.
But
John, go on that website right now.
I got it.
But no, I mean that's really. And if you're in Chicago, we're literally 5 miles away from O'Hare Airport. So if you're coming in O'Hare and you want to check out a restaurant, you can come.
Yeah.
See us in Chicago.
We're definitely coming. I think Brian Dwyer from Barbecue Bus.
The Barbecue Bus.
Yeah. So we had him. We had Brian and Brendan on not too long ago, and they were talking you up great. They love you, and we put together. So we do these little things for basically the folks that work with us. Barbecue safari. So we pick a city, we go, we try to get, a dozen restaurants covered, do little recordings and get out of there. So we talked about going to Chicago. Who should we see? And of course he said, look, go see Duce. You'll have a great time. And then when you told me about Duce's Wild coming up in the future, I was like, oh God, we got to get there before it closes. We gotta go. We have to go. It probably won't be until like first quarter next year, but I have a feeling you'll still be, that restaurant will still be open.
That would be awesome because then you probably get to see Duce or Sweet Baby Ray's, eat the food there, and then you'll see the construction of the Duce's Wild right next door.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I might call you up for that.
First quarter. Yeah, definitely. So let me know if you're going to come, but we can set something up, maybe do a little on the spot podcast in the new restaurant or something.
That'd be great. Wow. That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Duce, I got one more. I mean, very, very serious question. I know we're having a great time here. The Bears.
Oh,
I mean,
Super Bowl.
The Bears, they're moving to Indiana. Is that a real thing?
Dude,
I don't believe it.
With these people, right. I thought you were saying about how good their season was last year, but this is ridiculous. You don't know. And Pritzker is just being a goofball about it. It seems like to me, I'm not the right person to ask because I really don't know the ins and outs, but it would just be a travesty to me if they were the Indiana Bears. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
My God.
Duce, this is terrific. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time and jumping on with us and giving us New Englanders some love. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is Duce a made guy?
Oh, absolutely.
You're a made man, pal.
You come this side of town. Let us know,
Wise Guys.
We got you. We got your back.
You're now a made man.
Oh yeah, I'm a made man.
Hang that on your wall. Well, that was a fantastic interview, Vin. Again, and I don't know how long we can keep this hitting streak going, but we're going to go until the wheels come off.
We are blessed.
And we just keep getting great people after great people.
Duce, thank you for everything. That was great. You spoiled us, and good luck in the future. We will see you first quarter next year. And
Chi-Town.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're doing that safari, and that's going to be a blast. So, great show.
Yep, again.
Bring it on July. June's gone. Can you believe it, guys?
Where did it go?
4th of July is going to be next week, I think. Oh, my God. Hey, guys, thanks for another great week. Thanks for all your love. Thank you very much, Chubbs, Blue Pig. You guys rock it over there.
We're over 5,000 views now.
We're flying over 5,000. You know what happened? We found out. Tommy found out. The township of Attleboro picked up the story for them and boosted it. And they got 140,000 people on there. So it's just flying over the top. So that's great. Good for them. Amy and Pete, congratulations. You guys deserve it. And go out and eat some barbecue and have another great week.
Fantastic. Adios.